CWE video podcast number 18. I think we're going to start giving the show a name instead of just going by the numbers because I can't count and I'm going to start to lose track as time goes on.
Sorry. I've already lost track.
And as you can see, our panel is a little bit different this week. We're missing Garbage Man Rob. We are missing Kevin Cannon, whose phone is off. We haven't heard from all day. I don't know if that's because he heard you were going to be here. But Kevin Cannon is not here. But he held us up about a half hour. So the next time we all see him, I think we all want a good round of chops for making us sit here and waste 30 minutes on Tuesday night. But we are joined by the CWE Tag Team Champions. Dick Blood, Billy Blaze was originally supposed to be Dick Blood, but Billy Blaze is never too far behind, so he said, get on the program, let's talk some wrestling. But you guys left your belts at home. You guys always seem to have your belts everywhere. You guys are like the Alex Rain of the new generation. Everywhere you guys go, you got your belts.
They're only for promos. This was an after-work thing. We don't plan anything, we just kind of showed up.
This is a company-sponsored event.
Yeah. How many times the promos are like usually either one take because it's like, oh yeah, let that work.
Yeah. I always appreciate that your promos are like in your kitchen, you got like your dishes kicking around, like, just whatever's
Why am I gonna lie?
I kind of like you. You're kind of like Dusty Rhodes. You're just, you're a common man. This is my life. This is what it looks like. It's not glitz and glamour. This is how shitty CWE pays me. Deal with it.
If you pay attention to the promos, you can actually see my bird fly across the street. Bird, little fucker. Or the dog sitting there chewing on your ankle. Well, he's a good little bastard.
Yeah. And then the swearing begins in 2 minutes
it's
in.
It's not a swear.
So there it is.
Well, as he pops a beer, we're going to be talking about popping beers and professional wrestling a little bit later.
Right.
But let's talk some mainstream professional wrestling before we dig into all that. Who walked in?
One guess.
Not Kevin.
No?
No.
I have no idea why
Kevin, another supposed to be
I don't know why he was speaking on us, but whoever it was.
Just checking us out. He wants to know what's going on here in the CWE podcast world. So things are starting to shape up for WrestleMania. The early WrestleMania card is looking like Roman Reigns and Triple H, which we kind of anticipated by the finish of the Rumble. We've got Bray Wyatt, The Undertaker. That should be good. Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte as possible matches.
One more you missed.
What did I miss?
Strowman and Taker.
Strowman. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was Lesnar, Wyatt, Strowman, and Taker.
Yeah.
What is everyone's thoughts on the rumored matches going into the big show this year?
Well, if it was Wyatt and Taker, that'd be good.
Didn't they do that last WrestleMania?
Yeah. Or no, the one before.
Who did Taker work this year?
No, because Lesnar lost the one 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
It was
Wyatt last.
It just feels like it's been longer than a year, I guess.
Yeah, so they're talking about doing Strowman and Undertaker. I don't know if that is the route to go yet because Strowman's so green. Like he just started. From what I was told, he was only like 9 matches into his career when he debuted on WWE TV. Like he didn't even go through NXT television before going up. But Vince really loves him. He's a big dude. He's from Europe, correct? Like he's international.
Yeah.
But he's a big dude. So they signed him up because he's like 6'8". He's a tank.
Had 9 matches, I think.
Before
the main roster.
Jesus.
So, and you could tell like they're very careful to protect him in the way he's used. So going into WrestleMania, I don't know if that'd be the best stage to put him in his first big match because being so limited, like The Undertaker's a magician. You can go back and watch The Undertaker vs. Giant Gonzalez.
That was the
The Undertaker is amazing, and he never gets his just
Classic
due.
example, WCW brought him in and he was green as a fuck. Right, way Elegante, way back in the day.
Yeah, Undertaker can work with anybody. When people talk like the best ever, he always gets left out for guys like Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair. And I think Undertaker belongs up there because he has wrestled every style of opponent in main matches on pay-per-views and he's carried his weight. So I'm not discrediting the Undertaker's ability to work with somebody who's green and have that big match, but I think if they take some time to build this guy up and make him a monster and actually be patient with it, which sometimes they aren't always doing so, then next year that could be a big match if the Undertaker's still working.
Yeah, they have the tendency of rushing people. Like they can take a guy like AJ Styles. If they rush AJ, they can rush AJ Styles, but will they kill his career? Like they tend to do that. They've done that a lot lately.
His style in the Fed, he's gonna have to change.
The thing that has me curious about it is Undertaker's matches for the last 7 or 8 WrestleManias have had a certain formula of big moves, sell. It's about the atmosphere and stuff. It's a
Right.
little bit different of a formula. And what I heard about Strowman is they don't want him bumping at all. Like, not even offensively.
He did in the Rumble, which I think
He
was the
did,
first time
and-
he's bumped.
But it was Lesnar, and it looked like Lesnar might have just caught him with a punch, and he wasn't supposed to bump.
Okay.
But, yeah, because what I heard was, like, he can't even do a suplex. He's not even allowed, because he's not allowed to leave his feet, even offensively. So I'm really curious to how they work a match.
That's what I
He
mean.
trips over his own 2 fucking feet.
That's what I mean. I don't think the time is right yet because he hasn't been properly put over as the monster he can be. So
Yeah.
I think you need to bring him up. Maybe have him bump for a couple guys closer to next year's Mania that are a little bit higher up on the card, and then when he meets somebody like The Undertaker, it's got a little more meaning to it. I don't think he's had the opportunity to organically get over yet. He's just, kind of seen as an extra hand in the Wyatt family. Here's a wild idea that would actually, that just popped into my mind here as I drink my protein shake and get the creative juices flowing. They've got Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
That's the room. He's got his. I got my vices. He's got his. They're talking Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar, which is going to be a great match. They're both incredibly talented. My problem with that is The Undertaker defeated Bray Wyatt last year, so I don't know if there's going to be a lot of intrigue or belief in Bray Wyatt being able to beat Brock Lesnar one-on-one. And of course there's always going to be the factor in of he's got the Wyatt family with him. Brock Lesnar's a beast who doesn't back down from anybody. He fights anyone and everyone thrown his way. So what about Brock Lesnar versus the entire Wyatt family, whether it be 4-on-1 or in gauntlet style match? So he now has
Gas so fast.
So he now has the deck stacked right against him. So now there's a belief that the Wyatt family may be able to beat him because when they're together, nobody can beat them unless the numbers are matched or out even. So now
Survivor Series style. 4 against 1.
4 against 1.
They
Brock
can
Lesnar
cure.
doesn't back down from anybody. So he goes in. You can, if you want to get Braun Strowman over, he can go in there and Lesnar can rip apart Luke Harper. He can rip apart Eric Rowan. He can come down to Wyatt and Strowman and have Strowman be the guy that beats Lesnar. Lesnar can be strong because he goes through 3 guys, but then he can't get through the 4th because it's just too much to handle. So Lesnar stays strong.
Yeah.
And now you've created a new star in this dude who
just-
won't have to do a whole lot because the other 3 can carry the match up to that point.
Right.
What do you guys think of that idea?
It's better.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
better.
So I think it would add a little bit of extra dynamic to the match instead of just, well, Brock Lesnar's going to run through Bray Wyatt or the Wyatt family's going to run in and attack Brock Lesnar and he's going to fuck him.
The other way I could see it going, I thought you were going this way, actually, it never occurred to me, but I thought you were going with potentially, if they had more time, they could even have done the All-Star 4-on-2 tag of Taker and Lesnar against the Wyatt family.
That's
And
an
not
option
those
as well.
issues separately. That's
Why
how
would
it
you
is.
keep Lesnar and
I think
Taker?
there's too
That's
much
the-
heat there with those.
That's what I mean. If they had more
Yeah.
time, you could work it where it makes sense, but it might feel rushed
In
now.
theory, Taker would just want to kill him and leave, right? He would just, and then leave. Fuck you, you killed my career.
Right.
Because what do you do with Taker then? No Wyatt family. What do you do with Undertaker this year? Because he is wrestling. It's Texas. It's 100,000 people. So what do you do with Undertaker?
That's a great question.
Undertaker
He
does what
shows
he
up
wants.
and it makes money, so, hey, I'm here, pay me.
Well, or the Wyatt family can work the All-Star team from WrestleMania 7. It was like the Big Boss Man, Virgil. Well, Boss Man obviously can't be a part of that team now, but or the Nasty Boys, or they're on that. No, it was the
Yeah,
Nasty
no,
Boys,
no.
Repo Man.
And Jet.
It was good either way.
It was good either way.
So that's what's going into WrestleMania. Have they focused on a direction yet with AJ Styles on what he's doing with WrestleMania? Or are they still just focusing on getting him over?
They teased. He did a little mini program with Miz this week, but they teased that they're continuing him and Jericho.
So
So
that'll be
maybe a
fun.
full heel turn for Jericho, and that leads to a match.
Was the original plan we discussed a while ago Jericho and Dean Ambrose as well as one of the options? Is it still kind of up in the air?
I don't know what they're doing with Dean Ambrose. I think they don't know what they're doing with him because he got over really well last night. Apparently, he came out and stared down Brock Lesnar, and it got really, really over last night.
He's got what the people like to throw around as the it factor. There's just something about him that people connect with.
Because he's nuts.
Yeah, he's got great emotion, he's got great energy, and he doesn't have that prototype WWE look. So he stands out and he's different. And in this day and age, you need to be different in some way. And I think he just has that right formula where everything's aligning. That people want to see different. They want to see they want to see new, and he kind of breaks that formula.
He is a Stone Cold
They
Steve
wanna see
Austin
that.
kind of.
Yeah, it's a newer version of the Stone Cold Steve Austin, because he's just being nuts and being himself. And now all of a sudden you got all the CW clips of him showing up, taking a freaking blade to the head. Like,
But it's just that thing that the people want
yeah,
at the
they just
time.
want
You
to see
can't
it.
really
And it's-
explain it.
yeah, it's proving that he's not he's not all there, and that's a good thing.
I think he says more with a facial expression than most guys can say with 10 minutes of mic time.
Yep, I agree with that. I'm not going to agree with you on much, but I'll agree. I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Nakamura has arrived in the U.S. He's reporting to NXT. He debuts at NXT TakeOver in Dallas, and that, of course, was the big blow to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's been their biggest star in Japan for 10 years. With that announcement, I guess it's kind of a two-part question. Nakamura, he's debuting at NXT. I take over against Sami Zayn, who's a former champion there in Dallas.
WrestleMania weekend.
WrestleMania weekend, so there's gonna be a lot of hype and a lot of excitement for it. Any predictions on his future in NXT? Is Sami Zayn now at that point where he can be putting guys over before making a full-time move to the roster?
I think the idea was that he was coming to the roster when he hurt his shoulder, so I think it's only a matter of time.
Before he shows up there.
I think this is his way of making a new star before he moves on to the main roster.
Yeah, I guess it's really going to be a matter. It was the same question with Kenta when he got there. If he's going to be able to adapt to being able to do promos in English and connect with the audience, because WWE is so much talk that if you're not able to talk to the audience and connect with them, you could be dead in the water. So he is just a
And
natural.
Funaki did it.
Indeed. He's got such a presence and personality about him that may transcend that. So it'll just be a matter of creative coming up with something that will kind of hide the fact that he's not going to be able to do those fluent promos back to back on television like people who speak English can.
Well,
Or
maybe you can speak
Does he
English.
even-
he can speak English. He can speak English,
Okay, it's
but
just
can he
needs
do
to
it in a
learn the slangs of
having a back and forth conversation like we're
Yeah,
having right now
yeah.
on a microphone in front of a live audience may not be there, to be able to connect
Unless
yet.
he can put it together.
The other question-
You never know.
The other thing I'm curious about too is you guys have seen some of his entrances, and that's one of the things, his charisma that people are talking about. But does the casual American audience get it? Will they understand?
It's a different breed over there compared
I
to
think
North
that's why
America.
he's being put in NXT and not WWE, whether it's to be to start there or just to be
See how they
one of the
react.
flag bearers there, because the NXT product is mostly made up of the smart mark wrestling fan that wants to see pure wrestling and that style of sports entertainment. So, like, what's her, Asuka, the female.
Kana, yeah.
Yeah, the female women's wrestler that's there. She speaks little English as well, but she doesn't need to do too much of it because it's so wrestling based. So Nakamura may fall into that same boat where they're just going to put him out there, let him do his thing, and connect with the audience to his wrestling, because it isn't so promo and story driven. And if he does adapt well to being able to cut promos on national television, then you may see him make the move up there.
She's another one who can say a lot with her face. You see the video packages they show of her, she throws great strikes and great moves, but 90% of her video packages are her facials and her emotions, how she sells for her opponents and stuff like that. That's what they're highlighting with her, because that's probably her biggest strength. And that could be the same thing with Nakamura too.
And they're really putting together like a dream roster, like a Samoa Joe, Kenta, Finn Balor, Nakamura now, Austin Aries. Like, it is stacked.
Yeah, I for the longest time I was not paying attention to anything NXT was doing, and then they started putting all these guys in there. I'm like, maybe I should start paying attention. and it started, and
Women
it
can
started
fucking
to
out
make
wrestle
sense.
some of the boys.
It's
They're
easily
great.
It's easily the most entertaining product on television.
Better than
Not on
actual
television. It's
Raw.
on the WWE Network, $9.99 a month. I think that it's like a super indie. It really is, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to corner every market of professional wrestling that you now have to buy the network if you want to see all the top stars in the world, because they're literally doing what they did back in 1984 when they went to the territories and raided all the top guys. They're plucking the top guys from Japan. They're plucking the top guys from Ring of Honor. They're plucking the guys from TNA, and they're putting them in NXT, and they're creating this unique and special brand that you have to pay $9.99 a month to see, or you're not going to see these guys anywhere else because they're not on television and they're only available on the network. So it's a really cool concept, and it's going to be interesting to see.
Fucking Vince, what a genius. Fucker.
And they've already started doing it where they started going into like Ring of Honor's markets before them and stuff like that. And I can imagine now that they're really stacking the crew the way they are. It's only a matter of time until they're directly going into those markets like more aggressively.
Yeah, I have an interesting question for you guys actually. Then coming off of that, with them going in and like you made the comparison to the '80s. With CWE, you're bringing in a lot of guys, some of the best unsigned guys in the world, and that's helped all the local guys grow so much to the point where we've got one of the best rosters in the world, in my opinion. How do you see that kind of affecting the independent scene now? Because say Chase Owens, Jason Kincaid, Sigmund, all these guys that are coming in and have helped grow some of the local guys to where they are. Say they all start getting cherry picked. How does that affect the scene here and just in general?
I think overall, unless another promotion pops up that starts aggressively signing talent, it'll be okay for the foreseeable future because there is only so many spots on a wrestling show. So yes, they do have a lot of programming to fill with SmackDown, with Raw, with NXT, but then again, there's still only so many spots. So unless another company or two start up that starts aggressively cherry picking the independents, I think we'll be okay. Like TNA's got a very small roster in comparison because they do need to keep their budget a lot lower. Ring of Honor always kind of has a revolving door. I think if anything, it hurts Ring of Honor more than anything because with their style and niche of product, they need to have a very select worker to fit the style of wrestling they're running. Where TNA can kind of take an entertainment style wrestler or take a former WWE guy and they can kind of fit in the blend, where Ring of Honor is very distinctive in the style of wrestling they work. So if you don't fit that style of wrestling and you don't have a very unique personality, you're not going to fit there. So I think it hurts Ring of Honor more than it hurts anybody because that style is very distinctive and you have to be super athletic and incredibly talented to do it. So they can't just go and start raiding the bottom of the indies. Like they got to raid the top end, and then as soon as one of those guys gets over, WWE's plucking them away. So
does Ring of Honor change their style then? Do we see more? Not that he's not
But Ring
an
of
elite
Honor
worker,
is
but
a
do
Ring
we
of
see?
Honor because of its style.
Yeah.
Like,
I've always said like Ring of Honor should broaden its style
Mix it up
so they can draw more of the national wrestling audience.
Yeah.
And they've done that with guys like Dalton Castle and stuff like that. So they have made that stylists. So they do have room to do some more of that, I think. But I think there's enough good quality wrestlers in the world, and with the relationship with New Japan, and there's still great wrestlers over in Europe and Mexico, I think there's still enough spots that they can bring those guys in and do it. But like Lucha Underground has signed so many guys to exclusives, like Justin Gabriel's there now, Ricochet is there between his New Japan stuff.
Johnny Mundo, John Morrison's
Yeah.
there. Guys like Brian Cage, who's jacked and looks like $1 million that you think that he belongs on a TV show. Guys like that are.
Yeah, like anybody that's still relatively young and is marketable is signed with WWE, TNA, Global Force, Ring of Honor. So it's a good time for the boys. It most definitely is. But it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of plays out because with everybody cherry picking guys, it's going to mean that the guys that are on the independents that are trying to get up will get to move up the ladder a little bit more to fill those spots on top of the bigger independent cards and hopefully get cherry picked themselves.
I mean, a perfect example is look at it this way: with some of the guys that New Japan has now lost, do we now see Chase Owens more factoring into New Japan, which means maybe he's not out for CWE more often?
What'll happen
Or a
is
Jason Kincaid who's working for Ring of Honor as much as he is now.
guys will step up their game and bust their ass a lot harder for what promoter they're working for. Yeah. Back in history, what year was it when 4 guys walked up to a certain promoter's garage sale and dropped off their straps and went to work for the other company? The next show we had, Le Rendezvous, everybody stepped up their game for said promoter because certain guys, top guys, if you will, left, fucked off, and same thing, you're getting picked away. Okay, well, fuck, let's bust our ass for the boss and put on a show for these people.
Right, it's just like any time we've had like a name that hasn't made it and the boys worked that much harder to do it.
You want to give it to the people.
There'll never be a shortage of wrestlers, so there'll always be guys to fill those spots. It's just gonna be a matter of what guys step it up and make the most of it. So it's a great time for guys that want to take the business seriously. Speaking of seriously, there's a lot of people getting seriously hurt, getting sick. It seems like every week we're naming off 5 guys that are on the injured list, and we've got some more Sheamus is down with an injury with
Tendonitis.
Uh,
Gonna be cast
Oh,
on his
shit.
arm.
Ty Dillinger with an injury. Davey Richards with an injury. Del Rio with an injury. So guys are going down. It seems like every single week we're listing off 3 or 4 guys that are getting hurt. And it's for every brand. And once again, it's a bad thing, so we don't want to be seeing guys get hurt. But once again, it's now opening up spots for guys to come in. So it's
At least get their name and foot in the door.
What happened to guys working through this stuff?
I think that might be part of why we're hearing so much more about it now. Is like a lot of the injuries that used to be worked through are now being reported
Yeah,
on.
Because look at the old guys now, they're fucking crippled.
Fair enough.
Because they didn't sit down for an extra 2 weeks and listen to the doctor, and they can't walk, or they can't this, they can't play with their kids, you know?
Yeah.
It sucks, but it's life.
yeah, and it's crazy to think. Like I didn't realize his injury list was so long.
It's because they worked through it
Or
before.
it's
right?
just an old thing that got aggravated and hasn't healed.
Bret Hart announced that
That's-
he's got prostate cancer, so he's got a battle ahead of him, and it's kind of brought the wrestling world together. As
Is there
he's-
anything this guy's not going to have to fight through?
That's what I wanted to tie that in, because when he was talking about all those other battles, he listed off 1 million surgeries he's had and things like that. I had no idea that he went through so many, and it's crazy because he worked he was a full-time guy. Like,
Oh, he busted his
on
ass
every
every
show.
fucking
and
time.
doing 20, 30-minute matches, and I had no idea he went through that many surgeries. And that's what's scary. I'm sure we've talked about it on the podcast before, but I've talked about it with guys constantly as these injuries keep piling up. Like those guys that were working, they were working a lot more back then, but they were
4, 5,
working
6 days a week.
twice on Sunday, brother.
Twice on
Yeah.
And
They had sex with the wife.
and 6 rats along the way. But these guys were working a much safer style because they had to, being on the road so much. And the rings used to be a lot more
Depending on
dangerous
who
back
you're
then.
working.
But give or take, they weren't taking
Well,
the bumps that we do now
yeah.
because they didn't have to.
Go back
Thank
to
God.
Stampede, watch Dynamite Bret Hart. Those matches, they kick the fuck out of each other.
Those are some exceptions, but a lot of guys.
But
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
in comparison to the style now, the guys got to work a lot slower, a lot safer. But the downside was the rings were a lot harder back then, so the bumps they did take were a lot more painful. So now we've upgraded the quality of rings as time has gone on, but now we
Kick
take
your-
10 times the bumps. So I don't know where that balances out. And you used to hear of guys wrestling for 30, 40, 50 years. Guys are barely making it past 10 now if they're working a full-time schedule because you just can't. There's so much damage on your knees, so much damage on your back that eventually it adds up. So we're seeing that fallout from the 80s generation.
Stop hitting me.
I was just proving a point.
We're seeing
Your knees. Knees. My knees are okay. Fuck you.
No, this one.
Don't go
we're seeing the fallout from the guys from the 80s that were working that aggressive schedule and how beat up a lot of these guys are. So it's going to be scary to see in 10, 15 years the guys from the 2000s and on that were working the more aggressive snug style with the head drops and the
Look at the
the
Christopher
apron bumps.
Daniels,
And,
those guys. And
so it's crazy to see. Other news going on. So we've got 3 things to hear before we take our first commercial break. Awesome Kong got sent home from the TNA tour in Europe because she took Reby Sky's bags and she threw them out of the locker room while they were on tour. And this turned into a physical altercation, and as a result, Awesome Kong was sent home. So, Travis, you want to maybe give us a little bit of a rundown on what happened and what the premise of this was?
I kind of tried to read the background on it right before we went on air, just so we kind of had an idea. Funnily enough, apparently it started when Reby Sky was pretty green in the business, and before she was with Matt Hardy, but she was a Playboy model, so obviously, naturally, coming into the business, you're a Playboy model, you're going to get heat. That's just the way it is. Girls are going to hate you because you're coming as a model, and guys...
Attitude.
Yeah.
Play on your attitude.
So she comes in, and Sid Vicious apparently no-show to show, which...
He did that to
something
us.
you guys are really familiar with. Does that sound familiar?
Heard that before.
And she apparently cut a promo on some form of social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, but she cut a promo on it, and Kong took exception because she's green. She's this green
Did it
piece
have
of
anything to
shit.
do with bleachers? Why he didn't show up?
Yeah, he was moving bleachers and he hurt his knees.
Oh, poor baby.
So they kind of went back and forth and did from what I see, the typical thing of, oh, she's fake to my face, and then talks about me behind my back, and they went back and forth a few times, and Kong did a shoot interview where she called her a hoe.
Princess versus big lady called Kong. We've all played Donkey Kong on Nintendo, folks.
Oh, God.
So Kong sees it as being disrespectful, someone who's not an active wrestler trying to come into the locker room and change in the Knockouts locker room. Tells her that, nope, you need to apologize for what you said in the past.
That's what I was thinking.
Like, don't change in the fucking crowd with the marks.
If you're on the same crew together, you're together regardless of what your spot on the show is. But there is that heat there, so I understand that, and that I do respect. Because we have talked a lot about on the podcast about how this generation people talk shit and they're not held accountable, so they keep talking shit. So if she firmly believed that this woman was disrespectful to her, I agree with Stan. I don't agree with maybe choking her out. Maybe that's, pushing it a little bit. Maybe, but standing up for what you believe in and taking a stand, that's necessary.
It's probably overblown the choking. She probably got her and it was like,
There's marks on her neck.
Well, she got a hold of her.
That could have been from the
It could have been whatever.
Before,
But I salute that. Well done.
That's
She could have changed and then, okay, now get the fuck out of my locker room, right?
Yeah. Now,
depending on how mad she was, you don't really know.
But with the prior history, I guess you can.
Now, Kong, on the other hand, before she was sent home after this tour, but she's been sent home. She was fired once before for fighting with Bubba something, or a radio DJ who was friends with Hulk Hogan.
Oh,
she got into a fight with, she got into a fight with him. He's the guy who released Hogan's sex tape, so obviously they're no longer friends.
Right.
But she got into a fight with him backstage. She got in a fight with him backstage and got physical with him and fired for that as well. So that may be why they decided to send her home this time, even if she was in the right.
But I agree in theory with how it was handled, in the sense that how many times have we seen young kids in the business come in? I was one of them when I was young and I got put in my place. But you see it all the time, kids coming into the business, being super mouthy, being entitled, and everyone's like, oh, we can't do anything about it anymore, so we'll get in trouble. So these kids keep getting away with it. So I salute the idea of holding people accountable and policing the business, because if you don't do it, it just gets worse, and respect needs to be taught sometimes in a safe, controlled manner.
You don't learn your lesson, guess what, motherfucker? Give them at least that warning, right?
That old school mentality. It's not. It's around.
This isn't
but
cool.
We're just not allowed to act on it anymore.
No, we're told we're not to, and that's why I've said it's no longer a men's business. And it doesn't really apply because it was women here, but it's no longer a men's business. It's a boys' business where it's a lot of people that were kind of
tattletale of that era.
Yeah, it's an era of guys that, oh, wrestling's kind of cool, I want to get into it. We're wrestling back in the day, brother. You were a tough guy. You were a man. So if there was a problem, you handled it like man. Now it's a bunch of kids that run around like it's high school and they chatter behind. And that's bullshit.
That's bad. That's so bad for business.
If you're gonna talk the same shit on the internet, you better be ready to say the same shit in my fucking face.
Like, have you boys ever had to kick somebody out of a locker room before, or seen it happen?
Seen it happen?
Oh God!
I remember telling a story a couple of weeks back about how Rob Stardom threw David London out of a locker room.
See, I had heard about that. I wasn't there for that.
From what I understand, he didn't want. It was like him and his brother. They were booked to work. Eli Muir and Chip Fletcher, and I can see there being disappointment in having to work that team. If they're not, it wasn't going to be a good match. No matter how well both of those teams worked, it wasn't going to be good. So I can understand the frustration on their part, but I guess the way they approached it was, oh, I don't want to work those guys. They don't know how to work. So Rob Stardom saying, fuck you, who are you to say these guys can't work? Show some respect, you're new. Slap them in the face and kick them out of the locker room, which I applaud.
I can say this about Rob, he's good for him for doing that, because Muir and we all broke it around the same time, and good for him because at least he gave that respect to Eli. Yeah, okay, not the greatest worker, but
right,
you little
he would bust his ass.
These guys would fucking at least give you that match of cake.
Exactly, and that's a case of like I've showed up to many of shows, and especially Steel Town shows, and they're like, you're working this guy, and it's like, all right, let's make the most.
See what I can do.
Because that's a part of the job.
Try and help them out is guide them along the way.
I've seen Stardom. He fucked up that one kid outside of one of our shows for being lippy on
Tiny Tyler.
It was so good that
when Rob came out in the corner, I just kind of stepped up, and the security came out. I just looked at him, I'm like, just go back inside. I will take care of this.
Hold that story. We have to take a quick commercial break, because I want to tell that story in full, actually, because now it actually works for us. So it'll be interesting to kind of tell that story, how it developed and holding people accountable. We are back. Kevin Cannon is still nowhere to be found. You're still pounding beer. The night is young, so hopefully he shows up. Hopefully you're still standing up by the time the podcast is done.
Have I ever fallen over?
As he pulls up another tin can.
We went through a Texas Mickey crown, and he was still standing. So
you're up there with some good company that I consider some of the hardest partiers in the business. Rick Matthews, Kevy Chevy. Have the three of you ever been together for a good night's rampage?
We've had some fun, on and off. On and off. I've toned my ways down over the years. Don't get me wrong.
He's lying.
So before we went to break, we were talking people getting thrown into the dressing room. We mentioned how David London was thrown into a dressing room locally. Tiny Tyler, also known as Tiny Tyler Rose, about a year ago.
More than that.
No, it was about a year ago.
Rob was gone for a bit, but it was
just about a year.
It was just before Rob left.
Yeah.
Was it?
Just before he left.
I thought it was longer.
He was training with CWE, and he was a little too immature to handle.
Because that was awful. He was living around the corner from
Didn't he gimmick somebody's car?
Snatches.
He keyed up AJ's car and
never heard that.
Arrowed his
Little fucker
tires.
lived around the corner from me. Every time I saw him pushing a cart with his groceries to the lady, I tried to kind of follow walking the dog. But I never knew which one he went in. Like, oh, fuck, I gotta tell Sanchez right there's just a fucking we can go
we were doing some training at his house. Like, they set up the ring in his yard, but he wasn't committing to it, and he pretty much got cut loose and said, "You're not cut out for the business." So he was pretty upset about how this transpired, and for some reason targeted Stardom as somebody he wanted to fight, because maybe he thought, oh, Stardom's a little bit older, it's a little softer, and he can maybe take him, not realizing Stardom will throw down, like he's not afraid of a fight. So he called out Stardom and asked him to go outside the bar, and Stardom was like, is this kid ribbing? Like, he didn't know what it was about. So he followed him out, and from there you could probably take over and tell me what happened, because I was inside running the show when this went down.
Rob went out there, and Rob was like, kid, I'm not going to fight you. Like, I will legitimately eat you alive. And Tyler was ready to go. I don't know what the fuck was wrong with the kid. And then they started going at it, and fucking security comes out of the bar to come and break it up. I'm like, no, dude, just go inside. I'll take care of it. It'll be all right. So I think it was me and Moses Luke standing there with our backs so that the security couldn't come through. As freaking Stardom starts, he's like, now I'm gonna teach a kid a lesson. Takes his fingers into his eyes, and fucking, like, literally starts. I thought he was gonna lose an eye. I'm like, hey, dude, now we gotta stop this because this kid's gonna be fucking blind. Like, Tyler, you're fucking lucky I was there because he would have fucking eaten you alive.
Like, some drinks.
Stardom probably wasn't even breaking a sweat while this was happening.
He didn't know. He was fucking calm as a cucumber.
Yeah, well, that's something people don't know about Stardom. He actually used to box and amateur wrestle.
Yeah.
So even though he looks like someone's, dad or uncle now, as he
No,
gets
I
a
think
little
it'd be Grandpa now. I think.
Grandpa Stardom.
Grandpa Stardom.
He can throw down and shoot, and Stardom's the kind of guy that will get dirty. He will claw your eye out.
It
It's
was
fight to win. It's not
Yeah,
fight
he was
to looks
like,
the best.
he didn't break a sweat. He was, man, that was a whole I felt bad. I felt bad for
You
Stardom
got taught
having
a
to do it.
lesson.
I didn't feel bad for Tyler.
No.
I felt bad for Stardom having to come out and do this shit.
Yeah, 'cause he didn't
and
wanna
teach
do
his
it.
kid, 'cause he legitimately did not want to do it. He's like,
That's true.
I'm gonna
Rob
hurt you.
did not want to do
And he
it.
said it several times. I'm gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna do this.
Here's your warning, kid.
Tyler tried, and fucking Rob took over.
Stardom also, as we're on the topic of him beating people up, did that to Bobby Fox as well. It was at Doubles Fun Club. It was after Steeltown Pro Wrestling show. And I think I teamed with Bobby Fox that night, unfortunately. And after the show, Stardom told Bobby Fox to go help with teardown of the ring. And Bobby Fox had his headphones on and was ignoring him. So he asked him to take his headphones off. And he did. And he said, I need you to go help with the ring. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Put his headphones back on and blew Rob off. So Rob headbutted him straight in the face. He's got a big scar on his head to this day, like Bobby Fox does.
Worse.
Hard weight on him. He's bleeding all over the place. Like, knocked the kid down to the floor. And he wasn't around wrestling much longer after that. So it was another case of he was being disrespectful, not being told, or not doing what he was being told to do, and thinking he was above certain people on the card. And Rob taught him a lesson. So Rob Stardom, I guess, is a thumbs up to you. Not necessarily for the physical violence you're inflicting on young children. So
Teaching kids a lesson, brother.
but,
Well
but
done.
the meaning behind it all. You guys have been around a long time, and you hear a lot of stories in shoot interviews and stuff like that. WWE of guys being made change in the hallway, or their bags being thrown out if they had heat with the crew, or people on the crew thought they were
Was
disrespectful.
that show?
Have you guys ever encountered that in your time in the business?
Thompson, remember?
Was that to Drew?
Yeah.
Oh.
Remember that?
And I was
You were as
16.
green as grass,
I
brother.
was 16 at that time.
Motherfucker,
And
you
it
were
was
sleeping in the same room as my ex-old lady at the time when I wasn't dating her.
Uh-oh. We're starting to uncover some dirt here.
No, there was no. To be fair, I may be a dick now, but I was a respectful rookie. There was nothing. Legitimately, I can tell you that nothing happened, but it was.
No, I know.
And all the shit that
I wasn't
happened.
dating her then, though.
I know, but still.
Was it before or after you were dating her?
Before.
Before.
Okay.
But it was like coming together. But yeah.
Was she in the business?
Yeah.
For briefly.
But not very long.
Who was it?
I don't even remember her name, to be honest.
I do, but I'm not telling you.
I would hope you remember her name.
The way it worked.
I run into her now and then.
It tells you a lot about. I don't know. I know you don't really know who John Giroux is, but
I should.
I was fucking 16. Okay, not a single rib pulled on me. And we were out in Thompson, fucking the whole drive. Not a single thing happened to me. I'm gonna hand this over to him because John Giroux will not look him in the fucking eye anymore or say 2 words to him.
So what happened with this whole John Giroux thing?
Except for the fact that he painted people in quarters.
He was doing a gimmick for a little while called the Anti-Canadian. Came in with a USA jersey on, looked like something you would get at a fucking community club, lost and found, in some shitty part of the world, wherever it may be.
Where you were
But he had this stupid. He had this stupid fucking little blue hood that one. That fine, okay, fine. The Anti-Canadian playing the US gimmick, no big deal.
It was at a
Said
time where
promoter-
people were Brett being Canadian.
Yeah,
Okay.
said promoter that we were working for jobbed you out of a show recently. We'll talk about his
Two-time
name.
winner of the Indie Idiot of the Week, Ernie Time.
Yeah, fucking. Yeah, that's another story. I got a few of those. I gotta tell I got. Okay, but anyway. So he booked Steve Carino. Great. Royce Carino, great fucking show. Do a match. But Carino, before they do the match, he's doing a promo. John Giroux decides, it's in his wisdom of probably whatever he's into, he's gonna grease up his hair. And basically, if you ever watched The Ringer, it's like he looks like Johnny Knoxville when he's trying to get into the fucking Special Olympics. Comes out and calls himself the Mental American. And legitimately acts like he's mentally handicapped, etc. And it was like Carino, and it was like a shoot. Nobody knew what he was doing. It
It was his own. He just decided to fucking business for
He
himself.
came out
Yeah.
like acting like he had disabilities and making fun of all these people that
And
have these things. And
this is the
Carino's
time where
trying to like
CWE
actually,
had
hey,
that whole
you
front
know,
row
yeah,
of
swear and care, like legit fans and people that came. We were drawing 400 or 500 in the good days, and that was a great venue and great memories, great shows, and stories to go. But he comes out and does this, and everyone's like, we're sitting upstairs, me, Bobby Collins, and all that. And what's this motherfucker doing? Like, he's legit.
yeah.
Does this thing. Collins, hot as a fucking cut snake on hot cement on a summer day.
That's Collins all the time.
No, this is him when he pisses in his laundry basket instead of his toilet. That's how mad he is. Okay, this is Bob when he's not happy.
He was mad.
And like it was legit, and I understood why. I was like, oh shit. And keep in mind, I'm maybe 2 years in the business at this time. Like, oh my god. Well, fast forward X amount of time, a couple of months, whatever. We're going up to Thompson.
Yeah.
There's him, her.
Collins.
Easy Rider, Bobby Collins, Johnny Patterson, Travis, who used to wrestle as Billy Cage, wonderful person, great matches, loved him. Al Gore,
Solid.
yeah, he was
right.
loved. Me and him got along so great.
I miss
Had
that
some
guy.
great times tagging with him. The Jerkle, who happened to be the referee. Stories about that little prick. Just in Time, who's stories from up there. There's a couple others. Well, besides E.T. himself, Go Home. So we all get up there, and now there's a whole rib being played on Drew because I was his UTW heavyweight champion at the time.
You sure were. I remember that.
I only did it because Ernie said, "Oh, fine, do it. I'll pay you more than I told him to." And, okay, fine. Thanks, Ernie. One thing I can say about Ernie, he actually fucking paid the boys. He took care of when you're on the road and all this shit very well. I'm not gonna knock that against you, you prick. Give us the matches that were owed, all the boys, please. Thank you. Anyway, so we'll go to Thompson. My match is booked with Travis because we were working. Oh yeah, Swanee was on tour. Gino was there.
No, Gino.
Oh, was he?
He couldn't. He wasn't able to make.
Oh, that was the one after.
That was the one after.
Yeah, and the Churchill. Okay, yeah. So, the whole thing is we have the whole match, fucking everything's going back and forth like we used to do, hard match, everything was working perfectly. Well, Drew thought, after he hit me with whatever it was, he's gonna...
How did you work?
I was working Travis.
Oh, that's right.
He's gonna, he hit me with, I think, wasn't the... No, because I hit him with the German, and he rolled through, and he was supposed to pick me out of the slam or something,
He was supposed to...
but I didn't kick out, so Travis won his title. So in the back, Drew, oh no, that wasn't sanctioned, and Ernie and everybody like, no, it was, and Easy Rider, everybody, Bobby, no, it wasn't, like, it was out there, they were announcing a champion, it's a championship match, Travis, no, he's
Sorry,
freaking
who was
out.
this? This was Travis.
Billy
Billy
Cage.
Cage.
Billy Cage,
From
okay.
Dryden, Ontario.
Yeah, I remember Billy.
Yeah, he's great. Love him. I missed the fucker, too.
He came out first German.
Yeah. I flipped him backwards doing one. We butted heads.
Who was your first German, Travis?
Moses Luke. So we go into the dressing room. We had it all planned out. Me and him got into a fucking legit fist fight
Like they
where it
were-
looked like we were fucking kicking each other. Fucking, you fucking didn't pull me up. You were supposed to get him. Fucking. So Drew's freaking out. Meanwhile, it was a whole. We even worked a couple of boys. We okay, fine. So everybody bought it. So Drew's freaking out. Now the main event. It's Ernie Todd. I think Corey Diamond and Justin Time on the babyface side.
No, I was on the baby.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay, well it was Time, Bobby Collins, and somebody else, Owen Drew on the fucking heel side. And old Red Ernie's chair we kept trying to throw away for 2.5 years of tours, throwing it away. And we'd come back in the ring truck the next day. How the fuck did that get back here? It haunted us.
Throwing that chair.
Fuck.
I set that chair on fire outside.
That was in there. There was garbage cans, everything. So they're beating each other up in the match, and every now and then, Collins is the Collins heel and give Drew a shot, but he's on his team, and finish happens. The next thing you know, talking to Bobby afterwards, we're watching the tape. He goes, "Okay, Collins, go get him." Runs over, You see him grab that garbage, he's fucking just hammering. You see the ring on the outside fly off in the tape. He's fucking body strapped. This, that, he's fucking just beating him. Me and Easy Rider and him are standing in the fucking aisle. We go, Drew tries to run back and he sees the three of us turn around. Here's Collins, bang! Fucking just.
So that was a receipt for the spot at the rendezvous.
Oh no, that wasn't even.
That pretty much was. And the receipt, but we get into the dressing room, we're all howling, but I don't know who threw his gear outside. I didn't see that, but it was in the fucking hallway. He comes in, he's all, oh, it's outside. Fuck stuff, so we go, Sugar Shane was on the babyface side, because
How many fucking guys were on the road with you?
There was a lot of guys.
Ernie had booked like a 12 guy, give or take spot.
Yeah.
And those dudes were in, like Gore and Jerkle came up from BC and all that, because he's from Seattle. He and Gerbil was from out in BC with ECCW, so they just came up, did a few shots a couple times, and great fun dudes, man. Gore was great to work with. We smoked a lot of gigs, a lot of fun. But so fucking
That was.
Drew dips, and we go back to the hotel a couple hours after we just tear the ring down. Fuck it, go back, have a shower. Oh, okay, we're gonna go to the after party. All right. Go to the fucking getting ready. Drew fucking always all crying. He's got his arm this thing. What's the matter? He's like, I got a sore this and a bruise that. He's all fucking beat up and bruised. And oh, here, man, you want an Advil? No. They gave me something. What'd they give you? They gave you naproxen. That's a fucking anti-inflammatory. Okay, fine. So you're a little bruised. This is Advil. It's not gonna hurt you. Have a beer. Oh no, I can't drink with it. Fine, fuck you. Well, little did John Giroux know, after we went to the bar, I made arrangements at the front desk and asked them for a wake-up call every hour-ish, because I might have a concussion. So you hear him around and swear throughout the night. I woke up and I heard it was great. The next day we're driving back and he couldn't drive because he couldn't stick shift apparently. So Travis graciously says, I'll drive your car. Al Gore sits in the front seat. John Giroux's in the back. Gore's picking his schnoz the whole way, putting those. Travis is chain smoking. He's like, I don't smoke. Travis is like, yeah, so.
We dumped all that fish in the back of his trunk. Well,
we're ready.
he's like, here, put my stuff in the car because I can't. I'm like, okay, fine. So I go and grab the fender of the car or the fin on the car, rip the fucking fin off him. Opens it. We dump his bag in the
super glue is gassed.
The next time you say you got it bad, the way I rib you. Remember this story.
Oh, buddy, that's
you can you were in the car behind them and you can hear fucking Travis grinding the fucking all the way down the highway, just fucking grinding him like it was. Oh,
in a way, like you son of a bitch, you ripped on people that have.
You paid us in quarters, motherfucker.
Yeah, you owe me money still.
That's right.
I want to cover a couple more topics before we dig more into some Dick Blood, Billy Blaze stories that we're going to come to after the break.
Oh shit.
Well, we'll get one more in here I want to talk about before we get to that, because this will probably come to some stories as well. Our Indie Idiot of the Week. We don't have a specific winner of this award. Just going in general. I sent out a crew message today because as I was booking my spring tour to follow up the big 7th anniversary tour that's coming, I found out we have some heat at a venue. And we have heat at this venue because assholes were drinking in a school, an elementary school, and
Christian elementary school, nonetheless,
leaving liquor containers and beer bottles in the locker room and all over the trash cans.
Like outside or inside?
Inside the locker room.
Inside
the locker room. In the locker room.
Moondog Manson inside the locker room.
That's right.
We know who that was.
So inside the locker room, there's liquor, there's beer left in the locker room and on top of the trash can. So it's clear somebody was drinking. This happens sometimes on independent wrestling shows. It's happened at our shows before, and we've had to put the foot down. This has got me extremely angry because we've had this discussion many times with our crew about this happening. And just a couple of days prior, there was an incident at another school with people smoking some gimmick. And to be fair, it wasn't somebody on our crew. We came to the conclusion it was a fan that happened to get into a certain part of the building. So no harm, no foul. But because we thought it might have been somebody on the crew, a message was sent out just saying, hey, use your fucking head. Don't smoke gimmick at a venue, or especially at a school. There's some venues you can drink at that are private venues, and whether you agree with it or not, some guys are gonna have a couple drinks before the show, and to each their own. If that's cool with the person and then who they're working, you know, I'm not gonna be a hard ass
I'm
about
not
it.
gonna condone
But-
getting drunk.
No, not at all.
A
100% not.
beer or two is one thing if you're in a bar, your school show, like you said.
But
You know what?
you're going
I had a
into.
drink before the school show in my house.
Next, we just got off fucking work.
Exactly.
Legit, we work 8
There's a
hours.
difference between, like, I don't drink anymore, but when I did, I could have a beer and have a match, and it wouldn't affect me in any which way
No, that's
possible. Because you're drinking responsibly. You're casually having a drink. You're not getting drunk. But with that being said, regardless if you're having 1 beer or 10 beer, if you're in a school,
No, that's
you don't do that.
No.
There's a lot of venues you just don't do that in, and this is something
car's
that
parked.
hasn't just happened at our show. I've seen it at a million shows.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there was a show at the Salvation Army that a guy was walking around with a beer in his hand in the show. On the show, a worker, and he would go outside the door and hide behind the garbage can, and that's where he hid all this beer, and he would sit there and pass it back, and he just.
That's when you go and drink and piss in the
So my indie idiot of the week goes to people that are doing this, because this harms the business in the sense that you shouldn't be getting fucking loaded before you wrestle. That's a no-no. You shouldn't be getting high before you wrestle. That's a no-no. And there are, we've told stories on the podcast, and you've heard a million of them from different people of, some guys like to have a couple, and to each their own, but overall, it's universal.
I can
you don't
see
get
1 or 2
impaired.
beers is fine.
You don't get impaired before you wrestle.
No.
Secondly, you respect your venue. Venues are very hard
Especially
to come by.
a kid's school that's a Christian school.
Exactly. And
Like, I'm gonna love it.
so
I know that's bad.
It doesn't even matter if it's a Christian school. It's a fucking school. It's an all-ages show.
Period. It's an all.
Leave
It's
your
a
fucking.
family.
Don't do that shit.
You're gonna
That's
have a
fucking
beer, put it in
stupid.
your cooler, go to your trunk of your car, sit there, have 1 beer after your match,
yeah.
go back inside, pull out your bottle
Well, that's
of
what
wine.
pisses me
That's
off
what you have to
about
have.
these people that are
Period.
inconsiderate like this, because, like I said, hey, just don't do it. You're at a show, wrestle, finish your match, go to the after party, have a beer. But if you're gonna be that asshole that's gonna do that, at least be considerate. Don't leave liquor bottles
Don't bring it
around.
inside. Don't bring it in the side.
No,
venue.
it's just
No.
and that's the
No.
thing. Like it offends me in the sense that it's disrespectful to everybody on that show, because if a venue is ever lost because of that, you just cost 20, 30 guys a place to work because you need to have a fucking beer before you
I'll
wrestle.
say this, like, don't get me wrong, like, I like to drink my beer and have some fun, but being in the business outside of this that me and him are in and doing security and shit like that, like, I know how people sneak shit in. I can see it, and I don't like that. Like, leave it in your fucking car. I don't give a
No,
shit.
we had guys on that tour that were that they were smoking some gimmick.
Like, if you're at a bar, you can smoke a joint,
and now
that's
they're
fine.
now they're probably not going to be back again.
But if
because
you're at a
it's
school and
disrespectful.
you need your, that's your gimmick, and I love my gimmick too. And park your car a block away. Go sit in there. Don't go near the venue around the corner by the open door and have the school stink like this. Or
No,
leave
it's
your no. That is wrong because you're fucking everybody.
That's why I
over.
drink whiskey. You can't smuggle that shit. You can't leave that bottle behind.
Oh yes you can.
That's usually in a metal flask.
All in all, point of the story.
Yeah, no.
People out there
People
doing
that are
independent
doing that
wrestling
shit.
shows,
Yeah.
smarten up.
Dummy the fuck up.
Dummy up.
This isn't playtime, it isn't recreation, and whether you do this for fun or you do this as a career, it doesn't just affect you, it affects everybody.
It hurts
in the business.
everybody, whether it's
Because
the fans.
well, wrestling has a bad reputation of things like that. So the last thing you need is getting booted out of a venue and we're traveling, like, oh, we can't have that wrestling in there. The guys are getting drunk before the show and they're leaving liquor bottles all over the place for kids. Like, just stupidity. And people that have been doing that, they have been dealt with, and they no longer work with us, and that will continue to be a trend, and I hope other places take note of that. If we're at Rookie Sports Bar, 18 plus,
It's
have a
different
beer,
story.
it's a bar.
It's a different story.
You're at a public venue with children that host children throughout the
Yeah,
day. Use your head. Get out of the business.
Leave it in the cooler in your car and go out there afterwards and split a beer in the parking lot.
So
Somewhere around the corner.
that will wrap up this portion. We're going to come back and we'll get into some more fun stories.
Fucking idiots. to the after party, you got fucking hammered. So
once a month. And then probably lost it all week later.
yeah, we did. No,
Solid.
And we are back, and we're going to talk Dick and Dick's career and how it all started and how we got to where we are today. I first saw you in action, Chalmers Community Club. I was 12 years old. I was helping
Yeah, you were a
with
little
gimmicks.
lad.
Yeah, I was helping ring the bell and carry gimmicks.
You were.
And Wayne Stanton came on the microphone at intermission and said, we're going to have a special match between two fans. And
Yeah,
yourself
that was
and
the
Jerry
first
Lewis had a hardcore match during intermission.
Beat the living shit out of each other.
So tell me
Stiff as fuck.
how you got into the business and how this all came to be.
Well, I'm actually good buddies, very good buddies with Stanton's nephew, Big Bear, Raps of the Filthy Animals.
Does that make Wayne like your uncle, Uncle Wayne?
Uncle Wayne, Wayniac, you know, but still love the man. He had a lot of guys in the city to start. Gotta give him respect and props for that. But I'm very good friends with his nephew, even before we knew each other through wrestling. I was at home one night and I saw an ad on TV. It was like 2 in the morning on a Saturday. Hey, blah, 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 you want to be around? Like,
Same one I saw.
wrote down the number. Right? Probably watching WCW Saturday night or something like that. And I was,
That's what I was watching.
probably. And yeah, so I phoned it and I started going there. And one day, I think we were at a party or something. We started talking, and somehow wrestling came up. And he's like, "Oh yeah, my uncle." I'm like, "Oh, well, I just took these." He's like, "Yeah." And he shot up the number. I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, that's my uncle." I'm like, "Oh shit." And me and the big guy have been tight ever since. Like we were kind of buddies, but now we're just like we're a fucking like family. Like, you fuck with him, you fuck with me, type of thing. And so Wayne had this idea. Okay, well, you and this guy train together, and beat each other up. I was like, all right, fine. So we did it, and then.
So did you actually train before doing that match?
Oh yeah, we were in training. Yeah, Saxon beat the living shit out of us in a nice way, but to train us and it was legit 3, 4, sometimes 5-ish times a week, 2 to 3 hours or more, depending on his schedule.
And who was in your training class?
Oh,
Because you missed that first initial batch, right?
yeah, because that was when there was Silver Streak and Dooley and a few other guys, Overkill and
Johnny Malibu.
Johnny Malibu,
Paris,
yeah,
all those
Paris,
guys.
yeah. And so when I was in there, it was because Kai was in that initial one, and Bear was in it too, and he quit because Kai chopped his tit and it fucking bruised for a week, and he said,
Kind of like that.
that looks like some fucking movie you're into that you know, when you were
not a little bit, but
pinch it. Ow!
okay, a little bit.
So Stardom was in ours. Me, Lewis.
Heard you liked it.
Cannon came in, but he'd already done the work with Dawn.
Yeah.
Who else was in our? Oh my god, there was a bunch of guys. Like Kai was still doing his thing, and he could only pull off a sunset flip and whatever. And
He doesn't like taking monkey flips. He tells every guy he works that he's not
guess
taking
what? He's gonna take one way or the other.
It's the weirdest thing ever. Every time he's announced in a match with somebody, he emails them and tells them, I can't take a monkey flip. I've got a bad back. Which is what?
But he can pull off a sunset flip like nobody's business for some reason. That special individual there, the Kyle molester.
Oh my.
Molester Pastor Brad Jackson, pardon me. You can pull off a sunset flip like nobody's business. Who else was in? Oh my god, there was.
So how long did you train before you did that spot at Chalmers?
It was about 3 months.
Okay.
A good solid, like legit, like the first day. Remember me and Lewis, we walked back into school. We were still in high school. I was walking like a board. Like I couldn't fucking move. Like, what happened to you? Trading, wrestling. It's fake. No, it's not. But after a couple of weeks, you could walk a little bit easier, you know, but still your chest is as beat up as
It's funny because like your body really hurts as you learn to do it, and
Running the
and then
ropes
it
the
doesn't
first
hurt
few
for a while,
times.
and then it starts hurting a lot again.
Yeah, right. Experience. Because when you don't know how to run them and you're just hitting them for the first while, the next couple of days, 3 or 4, really aren't nice.
I remember Jared Rose used to hit the ropes without putting his arm on the
Yeah.
side. He would just hit them back to back.
Back to back, stiff arm, fucking.
Yeah,
Was he in your class, or was he in the class before?
He was. I think he was in the class.
He was in your class.
Yeah.
So what was like the locker rooms like? How do they welcome you coming? You know, you're the class right after them, so they've been working a little bit, and here you come, and you're doing hardcore stuff. How was that kind of accepted?
It
in the
was
locker
the
room?
style, and oh god, it was painful. Thank you, Vern. Nice big stitch. The first battle royal ever.
Was he the booker at the time?
Yeah, he was, and I think I was the 4th one in that first Halloween Horrors in October at Chalmers Community Club.
Was there a fog machine?
I think there was, and flashy lights too. Yeah, I was in, and
What was
third
your
or fourth.
What was your relationship with Vance as the booker coming into the business?
Well, actually, he took over training because Saxon, something, whatever, personal life, I don't know exactly what happened, but he had to stop to, I guess it maybe work or whatever, and Vern came in, he groomed things scientifically and explained things to you a lot differently because we were being trained differently. Not a big deal, and I appreciate every person that had a hand in my training, don't get me wrong. Battle Royals was bring the weapons. And he took the garbage can basically like this, and I'm in the corner, and instead of going puck sideways, he went tunk.
Ooh.
And it went poof! And it wouldn't stop. And 2 guys later, he throws me out. So we're driving to the hospital, me and 2 of my buddies that were there watching the show, and I'm going, hey bro, look at this, I can see my skull. And my buddy's driving going, "Bleh, stop it man, I can't see that. He's puking out the window. We get a fucking parking ticket. And I'm like after I get up and get stitches, and it took my 2 buddies, one of them was like bigger than you now at the time, and him, they held me down because I hate needles. Don't ask me why I have tattoos, it's different, man. Completely different.
Clowns.
Fuck off. Clowns. Yeah, so we hit the stations and so my buddy calls me the next day, well, we got a fucking parking ticket. What? We were in the... Alright, so we walked in the fucking magistrate. I had my shirt on and my green things. I was like, watch this. Walked in there bloody. I'm like, this is why we got this parking ticket. I was getting these 7 hours. Thank you, Judge. Have a good day. I respect Vern, everything he did for everybody and what he does for the business, and like he actually did explain the science of a match, the psychology, and a lot of things, and I took that to heart a lot. And then when I worked with Gene, he taught you a different side of it, you know, the brawling, but keep the psychology there, but still have a good match, the babyface fire, the heel heat, all that stuff. Each one of them was very unique in their own way.
Yeah.
And I have nothing but respect for all 3 of them.
Very quickly after you got started with River City Wrestling, it was sold to Ernie.
Yes,
and
it
if I'm not
was.
mistaken, you didn't stick with the original crew and go to TRCW. You decided to make the jump to the CWF, did you not?
Yes, I did.
And what was your decision, or your thought process behind that decision at the time?
Well, I don't like the internet. Like, I use it for certain things. Okay, fine. I've
Is
grown
the internet even around then?
in a way, yes, it was. It was because that was when there was the Meat Farm message boards. Adam Knight, Snuffy, you'll remember this. Those message boards and some of the boys, well, I never went on them because A, I didn't have it, 'cause it was really getting started, and like once it got sold, I didn't know. So everybody, including my best buddy who broke in with me, like Lewis, they all went over there and I never got told.
You just kind of showed up there.
I can't remember who it was that was telling me. They gave me Ernie's number, so I was calling him. I called him. Finally, okay, I'm coming down to do a show. So now I'm a new guy from this spot. going over here from these guys. So I don't know if they think I'm a stooge. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm going to get the living crap beat out of me because you got Spider, you got Dalton, you got Royce and Collins, guys that have been around a bit or not so much, but they're legit guys. They're not these fucking kids that broke into a business where you're going, oh, okay, we're having some fun, but yet we want to take it a little bit seriously.
At the time, like, the crews were completely different. Like, the
It was
RCW
very
territory, there were a bunch of
different.
young kids breaking in.
You hear stories from other promotions and guys like, oh, this guy's a dick, that guy. So you don't know what to believe,
Right.
whether it's true or not. Turns out Spider's a great dude. Dalton's awesome. These guys, but it's like it's how you get to know the people.
Did you have any, like, hazing going over there? Or any
Well, I got
initiation?
ripped as being a rookie. Nothing bad and shit, but you still, you sat there, you listened, you were quiet, and you don't ask for an over spot. And
Oh, I asked Corey Diamond about that.
Yeah,
on the podcast about
I
that.
remember Ernie looks at me and goes, oh, you're over at the fence, and I get ready to this, and he's, you're over at the fence, and Diamond looks at me and goes, yeah, he goes, well, there's your over spot, and everybody popped.
What was your first impressions of Ernie?
Okay, well, he's a promoter, he's a middle-aged guy with tits. I'm sorry, like, he had a bit of a gunt and he waddled, but he's a businessman. I respect him for that, you know, he had his trucking company and all that. Like I said, Ernie did pay the guys pretty, even, like, I remember on, like, my first few shows, like, even if it was whatever, still getting 25, 30, 40 bucks. And then going to the rendezvous, if it was the second or third, I was still getting 60, 75, and it's like, oh, okay, and do the math, and I didn't know it at the time, because I know, but now years of being in security, you know how to fucking configure things, you know what the money's going on. Oh, okay, I know what's going on. Thank you, like, cool, you know, 4 people paid me technically, and you're probably still making something like, cool. I really respected that. Thank you very much.
Ernie's got a reputation of not being the most personable person in the world.
No, he's a bit of a cunt
So
sometimes.
when you came over from River City Wrestling, were you treated with respect as being one of the few guys that came over that way, or did he still try to be big bully Ernie Todd and kind of push his weight around with being so green to the business?
He brought, he talked to me. He said, hey, you know, you're one of the guys that have been in the business a lot longer than you. You know, just show him respect, talk to him and stuff. And he tried to have his fun with me, you know, rib me a little bit, but not as bad as some other guys that came over, broke in under his...
How many times did you have to wrestle him?
Not as many as others, thankfully. And I legitimately, and I will say this, and I have witnesses just in time, Johnny Patterson, and I have made Bernie, the shooter fraud, whatever you want to call him, tap out in the training center on fucking Sutherland, because we were just shooting around on the mat, fucking around just to get our wind in us. And he thought, oh, you're doing it all wrong. And he got in there, he put me in his line. I wrenched him up and he tapped it. No, he didn't.
Does that mean you could tap that Dan Severn?
That's a whole other story in itself, and Dan got paid to just job out, thankfully.
So you and Ernie shot in the training center.
He was
he thought
trying to show me a thing, and I was like, okay, fine, fine, I'll do this.
So he
to you.
thought he was the big veteran and he would kind of manhandle the young kid in the business.
Right,
And
and
he'd
like,
flip
we
it
were just
around on
in
him.
there, and we were just screwing around, just getting some
Exactly what
just
I-
sweat.
I imagine it wasn't as easy as that, though. I'm sure he probably worked an excuse on why he lost. Why?
Oh yeah, no, he did afterwards.
What happened?
No, I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for it. I don't know.
Perhaps a rematch needs to happen.
Oh god.
I'd pay to see that.
There's a story that was going around. Maybe you can confirm or deny. Did you not at one point slash Ernie Todd's tires?
No, I was attempting to, and I maybe did, but the show before
I guess
that.
you can't get arrested for attempting to. Oh, yeah.
We did that show where Collins dropped on my face from the 2 tables that didn't set properly. Yeah, it was Rendezvous in August, and then in September, the prick doesn't book me on the fucking show, and I almost goddamn break my neck. Bear thought I was legit done because I was juiced everywhere on the floor. Collins jumped from the top, like the 20-foot thing, ass to face, not to fucking where you're supposed to bump. Bang!
And not the kind of ass to face Travis enjoys in his
Right.
hydration time.
You know, that's his own business. I'm not going to judge. You are who you are. We appreciate
It's
you
okay.
in life. But it hurt nonetheless. And these were not tables; these were ring boards that Ernie
Didn't need anymore.
Well, yeah, they weren't good for the ring, put it that way, but they had maybe half an inch give on each side. So we slid off, but the one leg broke, and I fucking landed. Collins fucking climbs up to the post on the one pillar, which is about 12 feet instead of the bigger height. Does it again. Ah! Now my face, and I'm goose, done. So I'm lying there. Blood's pissing everywhere over. I can see, I'm looking at I see Bear because he was doing our music and our sound.
Our lights.
And he was walking on his phone, and I found out later he's talking to our homie 40, and he's talking to, I can't remember who else he was talking to. He's like, man, he's dead. He's dead. Holy fuck, he's dead. It's not like the thumbtacks this time. He's fucking dead. He's
Yeah,
dead.
we all
He's
thought
dead.
you were dead. We were sitting on
Spider's
the stairs.
old lady, I found out afterwards because somebody called 911. From what I heard, it might have been her that called it because I was carried out on the table, but wasn't moving, corpse style.
Yeah, we had
Into the back. You pulled me up the stairs to the dressing room, Governor. Little ninja dance. Hey guys.
That was fine. We looked at it fucking
Didn't
ass.
feel like I should have had a broken nose, maybe missing teeth. I don't know, but thank God Bobby's not 250 pounds. He's 160.
This is still like
He was only
really.
100 pounds then.
Man, he still is.
Fair enough. I think he's changed.
Depends on how much lead he's got in his pockets.
You're still like really early in your career. at
That
this
was
point.
about 2 years in-ish.
It's like when you're 2 years in the business, you still don't even know how to work. Like you're still trying to figure
Not
things out in
properly.
your head. So, what was the transition like from still trying to figure out how to put together a proper match
Going
to
to
going to
hardcore.
CWF, which was
It was all
too
hardcore
extreme, too
wrestling.
hardcore, too fucking bad?
I still have that shirt actually.
I do too.
I do.
So what was that transition like? Was there anybody that was kind of able to guide you and teach you the psychology of
Easy
doing
Rider.
hardcore?
Easy Rider was definitely one of them. We had a lot of fun, especially when I legitimately had a broken arm for a year and a half.
Jesus.
It wasn't a fucking work. Thank you.
I
Ace.
worked you for that year and a half.
Right? And won 2 of those years at least.
Oh,
But it was only a
jeez.
year and a half I had it in there because I finally got mad and cut it out. And I still got a screw in here.
That was
Yeah, I had to, no, Kurt actually, we did a 2 out of 3 falls and he put me over really well. I think I still did the job. But we worked the cast the whole match. We did the whole no DQ around the rendezvous. He helped me learn a lot of psychology. He really did. Like, be toughest. We did a show in Brandon, and everyone told him I was a sack. And it was the cage match show, and he's going to finish the powerbomb.
And for those listening at home, it was a cage match show because the cage
Ernie's
took
old
so
cage.
long
He couldn't
to
take
put
it
up.
down.
You had to do the whole show inside a cage because it was just too inconvenient to put it up and down.
So Kurt gets the, he's like, hey, goes to powerbomb me, and I figure, well, I'm not gonna fucking sack out on this guy, and he's a big man, strong. When I fucking power up, he powers up, and I legitimately right behind him like that, and what the fuck? He's behind me, back to back. He turns me around, close eyes me, hooks my leg, finishes like, what the fuck? I'm like, huh? He's like, you're not a sack. I'm like, I didn't think I was.
When you're working for the CWF, you got repackaged as Baron Von Meaner. Whose creation was that?
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I know it's something you didn't really care for, so maybe you kind of
Yeah.
go into detail how this gimmick came to be,
grew on
why you hated it.
Yeah, well, I could never really I don't know, I just don't like having a gimmick, quote unquote. But, hey, man, I did
I'll
get
immediately give you that back because I don't want one of those.
Yeah,
You go right ahead. You take your jeans back. I don't want
So
any of that.
Royce actually came up with a misdemeanor gimmick, you know, like you're the criminal and misdemeanor, but well, okay, so it kind of worked. It was a little bit fun.
That was the orange thing, right?
Yeah. My buddy's dad gave me his old fucking metal hydro suit that I cut off and wrote the jail thing on.
I remember that.
I don't.
I went and bought the chains from Home Depot for the handcuffs.
So you're like males.
Well, yes and no, but like, you know.
Had the barcode on the back.
Hopefully
and
a slightly
everything
better
else.
worker.
So you were like the typical indie convict that every company has.
Yes.
Yeah. And then
okay.
it was actually Dale Swan, Gene Swan's brother.
Were you announced from the penitentiary?
I don't remember where I was from.
I know.
So no, I think it was from Stony Mountain.
Mountain.
because I had-
Stony Mountain.
Awesome.
Yeah, they did. And
Someone tried to pick him up once because of it.
Oh, remember the pie eating contest at the jail? Were you there? That's another
that kind
show
of-
story, yeah. See, you guys can have us on for weeks. So anyway, like it was just okay. This gimmick's run its course. And it hasn't been super long. Like when you get Candello, he's there. That's a fucking Baron's kid. Give me a smoke. All right, Tony. I got a Baron's kid. Tony, I only shaved my head because I played a lot of sports, but I didn't like cutting my hair, wearing helmets, and sweating like a pig all the time. Oh, yeah, Baron's kid. It got around to everybody. Swan, this guy, that guy, blah, 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 blah. Dale Swan's old lady. At the time, I'm not sure if somebody, I can't remember her name. One day was just, had a show, and why didn't you call him Baron Von Meaner? And the right person heard it, son of a bitch, it fucking stuck.
So did you get like the Baron robe and the whole deal? Did you
Well,
not?
Vance, like Vern, actually told me while I was training with him, and that was like, you look like, for a while it was going on. So when I came with Ernie to work there, and I did that little gimmick for a while, the jail one, that's how that came through. And there was, it's Malabars, the thing, just off Portage, Malabar Expressions, they do like, they rent tuxes and all that shit.
Right on wall.
Vern's like, yeah, they do some tights. Well, they got the same pair right there. The same red stripe, black thing. You gotta go get them. Oh, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, oh, I want to be in the wrestling.
You rocked it.
I hated it.
Did you did the claw and everything, did you not?
Yes.
I'll give it this. When Paul Diamond was here, Max Moon, he was Paul Diamond. So at the time, Corey Diamond could not be Corey Diamond until later on. They built it later as illegitimate son to give him back the Diamond name.
The Diamond Project.
Yeah, so what they did was they built him as Corey the Riv Kowalski. Now, Ernie had a TV deal with APN. Who knows who he did or did not blow properly to keep that gimmick and use too much teeth going on TV. But I had a tape, and I'm sure Uncle Wayne still has it, because I had a couple shows on this tape, and where they were doing commentating, and you hear Ernie, and fuck, I forget his name, but I see the guy all the time at all these APN shows at the club. He's a good dude, and I guarantee if I talk to him somehow, I can get some of these matches. So they're on there, and he's like, oh, it's like, look, it's like the Baron and Kowalski, we're going back to old AWA, and I'm watching, like, this is not cool, like, I didn't want this, and, you know, he doesn't want it, we gotta go with it. And then Paul Diamond comes in and beats the kendo stick. Great. Thank you, Paul.
So Corey Diamond was the original Scotty Raver.
Yes.
To a point, yeah.
Wow. I learned something today.
He had all those stupid fucking things in his hair.
Yeah, he did.
I remember that hair. So this was before Studs Inc.
No,
No,
because Stud Stink was when I was booking for Wayne.
No, it was.
No,
they did it in CWF
You did it CWF first.
Yes.
Off topic here, who in their right fucking mind decided Buddy Weiser would be a good fit for a group called Studs Inc.?
It was
Wayne.
No, that was Ernie. That was all fucking Ernie poking at fucking TRCW. It was the whole fucking beautiful fucking
that
Bobby
was
J
Ernie,
thing,
Wayne,
and that's when they started announcing him as P. Worthington Love.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, fuck you, Phil. I remember that
I always thought there was a little bit of a disconnect with that gimmick.
Worthington
Something just didn't
Love.
quite match up there. So eventually you ended up leaving the CWF. Was there a big blow up or was it just time to go?
Well. Oh shit. Oh, this is
shit. Okay.
Hey, man.
Travis told me to do
It
it.
arouses him when he sees men pet each other.
It's okay. I don't care what you do, but we're not into that. So I get a call. There's a new promotion going to be starting. Blah blah blah. Okay, fine. Keep it under wraps. No problem. At the time, I'm booking for Wayne.
So you were still working for Ernie while you were doing all that? So I want to touch on that part of your career too. So I don't get too entertained
when
with
I
it.
left Ernie.
You didn't really fully leave Ernie.
No, it was oh shit. It's 11:30. Yeah, this could be another story for another time.
I got a few more things I need to ask you quick. So maybe
Okay, let's save that story for another episode. Because I got a few more really good ones.
So you did eventually return to working for Wayne, and you took over booking for Wayne.
Yes.
How did that happen? And tell me, because I've had a couple bookers for Wayne on, myself included, and we all like to share the horror stories that is booking for Wayne Stanton and trying to better a product he's constantly trying to sabotage. So what were some of the adventures you had to encounter in your time booking?
Again, it's late. If you have time, like, I like to go over, but I want to do it professionally. I don't want to sit here and run it off quickly, because it is, you know what, I did have a lot of fun doing it, because I had a lot of less than talented people, but I had a lot of guys with potential at the beginning of their careers. Yourself, AJ Sanchez, yourself. Hey, I was as green as grass. I was probably 3-4 years in the business, working, living at my parents, just trying to live life. Oh Christ, who else was fucking there? Well, you Phil.
Pepito.
Yeah, he was there. He was there. You know what? And there was some guys, and he was one of them. That you said, here's your spot. This is what I want you to do because it works for you. And they ate it up. But then, let's say, some said promoter, oh, no, I want. Why? Don't touch this. Like, oh, I could go on for a fucking.
Did you have any fun interactions or battles with Louis while booking?
Not booking, working for Wayne. He accused me of pissing his boots once, and then Wayne, no, I legitimately didn't. The first time I did not. I'll say the first time. No, I found I went into the. This was at Norquay.
So Louis must have been pissed in twice.
Well, okay, not by me. Okay, so I went into when I got in trouble. This time. The first,
It wasn't good when you got in
the
trouble.
first actual time, I went into the pisser at Norquay and I went, oh my god, oh, what's Louis banging his boots? Well, fuck this! I filled up his boots with water from the sink. You filled up Louis' boots, pissed in them, they stink so bad. I'm like, no, actually, I'm thinking to myself, wait, you know, Wayne, it stunk like that because of his fucking boots. I'm like, oh, you're gonna accuse me of this, Louis? You went and told him, you little motherfucker. All right, fine. 2 shows later, I see his fucking thing there. Well, I fucking had the biggest piss of life. Fill up his boots.
I remember that.
So it probably didn't smell any different.
These probably smell better, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, we forgot to mention as we went on the air, Travis smelled like piss and he had to change his shoes.
First person you'd ever piss on him.
He's told stories on the podcast of Travis pissing himself. Today he just smelled like piss.
I did not. Your cat pissed in my boxing shoes. I am not happy.
So you
First
smell
time a
like piss.
pussy's ever pissed in his box, ladies and gentlemen.
What do you think?
I did not.
I gotta ask a question. What the fuck did you do to Danny's cats that they're pissing on your shit? Because
They pissed on. He slept in a blanket of piss last night.
They knew their nuts were coming off.
no, see that's payback. But you have to see on a
He
regular
didn't
basis.
know.
Oh, fucking animals know.
Oh, they
We went.
Oh, yes, they do.
We went to the bar last night. They peed on his sweater too before we went to
Because
the
he got
bar.
his nuts cut off.
We took my
this is
roommate's
before the
dog
nuts
to
off.
the vet, and the Roasty, the sweetest, nicest, half Roddy, half lab. 5 minutes later, they call us. You need to come back. He's at the back of the thing. He's never like that. We walked in there. He's all, hey. So we leave the room. He gets mad. Okay, here. We went in the fucking medicine. Let him get.
We went to a show in Minneapolis a couple weeks ago. The promoter walks up to me and he says to me, he's like, "Travis smells like piss." So I'm like, "Travis, what the fuck, man?"
What was her name? Not his name. Sorry.
And I guess the cat pissed all over his shirt, so he goes,
No. We were all downstairs in the locker room, and this guy was upstairs, probably setting up his merch or something. And one of the guys comes downstairs, and I had just like opened my bag, and the cat had pissed on my shirt, and it was in my bag. So now my entire gear bag smelled like piss.
Cat is the worst.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh.
And so I cut this massive promo on him for the entire locker room. Because they're like, why doesn't he just get them fixed? And I'm just cutting this promo. I'm so mad. But suffice to say, the only reason they're pissing all over everything is because there's 3 cats, all under a year. They're trying to assert their dominance. That's why the one always hops on the other one's back and bites his neck and stuff. They're trying to be dominant.
Getting back on topic here, I want you to tell me the story of you getting fired from Teddy Bob's. because
Teddy Bob's?
I think it was Teddy Bob's, where you may have met somebody on the street, brought them into the locker
Your
room.
birthday. No, we didn't meet him on the street. It was your birthday in the hotel room.
Was
at
it?
Teddy Bob's?
Wayne tells the story as if he picked up a girl at a bus stop.
No.
Oh, it was some fucking broad walking by that shit with her tits.
Yeah, You're in
Yeah,
the
well, I had to
locker
let
room.
Bobby J in the room because he was late for the show and he brought his gear and so I let him in and she finished me off. No, but I got fired 3 times for being sober. That's what it was. No, I was asked not to drink, so I didn't drink. And Wayne thought I was fucking drunk and he fired me for being sober. He fired Bear, he fired Lewis for no reason as well. That's when Bear was the last time he was doing music. That was from the Academy on Portage there, or whatever it was.
How much time do I got, Chris?
It's this segment's about 30 minutes now.
Okay. Finish up this story.
That was on his birthday. Because that was on his birthday. She fucking walked by. He was living.
Hurry up, because I gotta see if
Well, shut up. She starts showing him his tits. I walk in the room. He's bringing her in the door. I'm like, fuck. See, he's leaving because he knows. So I walk in the door. He's like, kid, you gotta leave. I'm like, all right, fine. So now I'm standing on the outside of the door, and now he's getting a fucking blowjob. It was the funniest thing ever. Because now he had to let fucking Bobby J into the fucking room while this chick's finishing him off. And he was sober the whole time, and then it was his birthday, so we bought him 2 pictures and he fucking did the Austin in the middle of the ring and dumped booze all over the place.
Wasn't Wayne getting hot, like knocking on
Wayne
the
was.
door?
Well, yeah, because I'm standing in front of the door, and Wayne's sitting there fucking banging over the door over my shoulder because he's in there fucking enjoying himself. It was his birthday.
There was a rumor going around that time that I don't. The guys like to talk shit, and stories are made up quite commonly in wrestling unless they're about Travis. They're usually true. There was a story at the time. I'm trying to remember who told me this story, but maybe you can confirm or deny that it was at Teddy Bob's. They were looking for Wayne. They couldn't find him. They ended up going to one of the hotel rooms because that's where a lot of the guys changed.
Yeah.
And Wayne answered the door, and Louis was on the bed in his underwear. Is this a true story that can be confirmed or denied, or is it just the boys?
I was
being
there
boys?
when it happened, and I know somebody came out to the not in the closet, which I still gotta do.
I think he's
they
clearing
cleared
my throat.
Go ahead.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Get it all out.
I'm good.
Getting excited about this story here.
Okay, if it's
I'm really not.
sure, Louis might be your type.
I think it's a rumor.
I honestly think it's a rumor
I think it's
because
a
the way
rumor.
it came out, it was someone just fucking yelled it from the hallway, and it wasn't. I can't confirm or deny
Yeah,
it,
there's
but it
no
was
proof.
the way it was set up. It definitely seemed like it was a rib.
Okay. We're running out of time, but you answered one of the questions sent in, but I was sent in a question that needs to be answered. So we'll use this as the final one, and we'll finish up the rest on another time. Hey, Get Blood to talk about the time he lost his PO in Thompson and who found it.
Fuck you, Collins!
What's the story here?
Oh, God. I love you, Collins, you little fucking bastard. Yeah, again, like I was super green, but not as green as a few of the other guys on the tour. And we did the show, and I don't think it was the Drew show. I think it was the one after. And we had gone to the hotel after the show, had a shower, whatever it was, and we were going to go to the bar, have a couple of beer, whatever.
The Thompson Inn?
One of the two. It was the cooler, because Collins liked it because there was bullhorns hanging everywhere. There was somewhere where he would like, it was like the DAC in Winnipeg, if you ever know the DAC, right?
You're just plugging everything today,
Right?
It's plugging everything. It's your lucky day.
Ah, sorry, sweetie.
And you've heard the rumors of that, please.
Jesus. Can't afford it.
You can't afford it.
Yeah, so like, we were walking through the lobby and I was checking my cash and I go to put it in my pocket and thought I put it in my pocket, whatever. So we get in the car and, oh yeah, we're going to the bar. And me, Justin Time, whoever, Bobby Collins in the front seat and Fat Jew's driving. And I'm like, oh, where's my fucking money? I'm starting to freak out. I'm like, oh my God, like that's, like I need this cash to like survive tonight, to get home, da 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 da. Like I don't got much cake. Like, what the fuck? Where's my cash? Like so many. And I was losing my shit. And Collins looks at me and he goes, "Lucky it fella right behind you and puts it like that, and I'm like, fuck you, Bobby. He's like, what? I'm like, never mind, I could be broke this whole time. I'm really sorry. Thank you. Like, yeah, you saved my ass, Collins, brother. I owe you for
I would
that.
like to point out, every time you wear your Colt Cabana shirt, Chris, there's some kind of racial Jewish slur uttered by one of our guests.
This thing gets more heat than.
No, Patterson's one of my best friends. I've known him since we were like 3.5.
So it's just a descriptive term, not a.
Oh no, he is a fucking Jew. He'll tell you himself. He's a typical Jew. Like, you're half English, you're half Jewish. So you're fucking English fucking limey. Great. So you can't charge me full price.
We're definitely gonna have you guys back on to finish up. So we have a lot more to talk, but we haven't even talked the origins of Dick Blood or the tag team that's in front of us now and how it all came to be.
Right.
So we'll have you boys back on. It won't be next week, as I did some digging and I got a guest I'm very excited to have because he's been in hiding a long time. Next week we're gonna have Vicious Donnie DiCaprio on the program.
There you go.
And he's a man with some stories of the road and some ribs that have happened over the years. So I'm very, very much looking forward to having DiCaprio on. Boys,
He's a good man.
thank you very much, and we'll do it again soon.
Definitely.